All right, so this is episode 10 in season 2, which is over, and in the beginning we see the incident that happened with the teddy bear.
Like by now we know that it's got to do with a plane crash, right? Because we've seen the NTSB
Hmm.
uniforms.
Yeah.
But what that has to do with Walt's house, we still have no idea.
Hmm. But we've already seen it, so we know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, if we were watching it again for the
Hmm.
first time, I think the second episode that did this down
Hmm.
had the NTSB on the uniforms,
Yeah.
and you could see. I mean, that's a wreckage of a plane crash, or I mean, it could be some other vehicle, but it doesn't make sense,
Hmm.
It stuff all the yeah. Anyway, we still don't know why and what that has to do with anything.
Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
teasing us enough to make us want to keep watching and see why.
Hmm. Yeah. So in the beginning of this episode, Walt was a little depressed. I think in the beginning he wanted to die.
I got that he was bored, and he didn't want to. The other thing was he didn't want to just sit around and do nothing. He's the guy.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that happens is he's in bed, pregnant wife is going off to work, and he's supposed to rest.
Hmm.
And he can't be the man of the house and be in bed.
Hmm.
And he's just bored.
Yeah. And plus he
And
wanted
so,
to go to work, and Skyler wouldn't let him.
right. Well, he had just had surgery, right?
Hmm. Oh no, he
No,
hasn't had
no, no,
surgery.
no, no. He didn't.
No.
He had the pneumonitis. That was
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the surgery is like the second to last
Right.
episode.
Yeah, this was totally not surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, but what did you think of the party?
I think the whole episode is Walt trying to balance Walt and Heisenberg.
Hmm.
And Heisenberg is the part of him that is the alpha male,
Yeah.
you know? And I think at the party, Hank takes over that role.
Hmm.
So at the table with Junior
Hmm.
and the tequila, Hank is taken over as the alpha
Yeah.
and makes decisions and says, "Let's get this bottle away." And Walt is
Hmm.
so drunk he forgets that he has to be Walt. He forgets to hide Heisenberg,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of the time he's just kind of fumbling through
Hmm.
trying to hide Heisenberg.
Yeah. And plus, normal Walt wouldn't even give Junior a drink, to be honest.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Hmm. Yeah, but I really like the scene between Heisenberg and Hank because that sets the tone of what's going to happen in season 5.
That isn't, as far as Hank would be concerned, I think this doesn't even come close. Because what he sees sober in season 5 is scarier than this drunk Walt by far.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's way ahead. But right now, Hank is attributing it to the booze. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's not he's not reading anything into it besides that.
Hmm.
And Walt is really disappointed in himself the next morning. It's a bad hangover. It's
Yeah.
having acted like an ass. And we don't really see any interaction between Walt and Skyler after that party. They're separate
Yeah.
in all the scenes.
Hmm.
He's alone, she's at work.
The only interaction we got was the breakfast, and that was it.
Oh, the breakfast, that's right. There
Yeah.
was that. But even then, I mean, yeah, it was all sweetness and, everything was hunky dory until the party. And then Skylar just kind of sat back, and Walt is doing this. Didn't he do the breakfast thing already?
Yeah, he did the breakfast in the beginning of the episode, and then there's the breakfast in the middle. If
where
that's
he
what
just
you're talking.
like it's contrition.
Hmm.
It's like, look, I'm a good guy. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Now he's like, okay, I'm a good guy. Look, I'm installing a new water heater, and I think he did the redid the floor that was moldy, but I think we were to see him as going overboard and perfectionist about it because
Yeah.
he hands it to Junior. Junior can't see anything but wood,
Hmm.
but Walt is the perfectionist.
And he needed something to do in this episode because, like you said, he's bored. He doesn't know what to do. He can't find anything else to do except to fix the water heater and fix the floorboards.
And fix his boo boo from the party.
Hmm.
Try to smooth it over by getting all of this done. And at some point, instead of it being something they appreciate, Skyler just had it with the saw all the time. And that's where I say he's probably being a perfectionist
Hmm.
and going overboard. Um, it's not winning him. It's not scoring him any points.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Junior's happy about the hot water heater, but Skyler's still, a little sore about the party. They never really talk about it. He leaves a
Hmm.
message, but yeah, there is kind of a distance, and she's just looking at him like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. What did you think about the interaction between Ted and Skyler?
I think I think it's been obvious since the first time we met Ted that he's interested,
Yeah.
and then she feels like she needs somebody to talk to, and right now that's not Walt, and he takes that opportunity to hold her hand, and then later we see her getting his attention on purpose.
Hmm.
This is like, yeah, they're getting pushed apart,
Yeah.
and it's been up and down, but they keep going through this because Walt can't balance Heisenberg and Walt very well.
Hmm.
Heisenberg needs to come out, and I think Walt is the kind of I think he would love to come out as the badass to his family
Hmm.
and say, "Look what I did, Skyler. I'm a genius. I did. Nobody can do this in the entire world. They can't do it like I do it." And Junior would just eat up the badassery. He
Yeah.
does anything that can be considered badass. Junior's like, "Right on, Dad,"
Hmm. Yeah.
and he
Uh,
really loved to show that side to them, but he
mhm.
can't, and it's breaking out. You know, at least if he goes off to work and then for walks afterwards, he can do what he was doing. But you notice when he gets out of the house to see Jesse, basically he tells Jesse he's out,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
they're going to sell what they're selling, and then that's it. And I'm trying to. I think the moment Walt decided he was back in was in that parking lot
Hmm.
of that like Home Depot type store.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
He wants back in. I think he
yeah,
wants
stay
back.
out
He
of
wants
my
back in.
territory, says the guy who says that he's out after they sell everything.
Hmm.
He's having trouble balancing. He's sort of rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
And he's a really, really bad liar to his family. So, yeah, but he doesn't do anything really related to the business in this episode because we don't even see any deals going down, any money being exchanged, just that conversation
Hmm.
with Walt and Jesse, and Walt just got consumed by his project, his
Hmm.
home project, and he wasn't in the business in this episode
Yeah.
until that moment. you know, seeing somebody do what he knows he's really, really good at is whetting his appetite. He's bored.
Hmm.
But I think, yeah, when you talk about Skyler and Ted, there was a kind of like he understood where she was going and he would finish her sentences, you know.
You think this might be an episode where people consider on hating on Skylar because of what she's doing?
I'm sure they're not, they'd use that. Oh, look, she's flirting. Um, but most of them actually seem to just, the fact that she had an affair after she had declared her marriage over and tried to get him out of the house as the breaking bad for her. But like he sat down and he seemed to understand and he did like finish her thoughts for her, put her thoughts into words, and then does the handhold thing.
Hmm.
And she's seeing him as somebody to talk to. And I mean, this is the first episode where she mentions that Walt has cancer.
Yeah, to Ted actually. Yeah.
And I think she's compensating because during this season we're seeing, I'm sorry, Walt doing things that she's not used to, and in a sense she's losing pieces of him, and she's trying to fill those voids. There's empty space where Walt used to be
Hmm.
a lot of the time, and maybe she's just trying to fill that because she, I don't know what she's thinking at this point, but she's been suspicious before. She's still in you were buying pot mode, isn't she?
Yeah.
And has gotten over that and really doesn't know what's going on. This may actually be like one of the last episodes that. No, that's coming up. I wonder where the last episode is where she'll be sweet. Actually, I do know when that's coming up. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of what the theme was, and the whole thing, laying down in bed, having your pregnant wife go off to work and tell you to rest,
Hmm.
that was not what he wanted to be. He wanted to be like, you know, he
Yeah,
wanted to put,
he wanted to have her lay down and go rest because she's pregnant and he go off to make the money.
right. And he was in charge of that bottle and his son in his house.
Hmm.
And Hank wasn't gonna, he even tells Junior, what are you looking at him for?
Hmm.
Like, look at me. I'm the king here. This is my domain.
Basically, Hank was treading in Walt's territory.
Yep, yep. And Walt was too drunk to handle that well.
Hmm.
But in the parking lot, he gets to be the alpha male sober, and he intimidates these guys.
Hmm.
They actually get scared, and I was a big dude too.
Yeah, it was. I'm surprised he didn't get beat up or something.
Obviously, something in the eyes. Like, who looks crazier? Who looks like they're gonna have more adrenaline pumping through them?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that he was gonna be scrappy, and they got out of there. That was, yeah. I mean, he just needed to tell that guy in the store what he was doing wrong.
Hmm.
You know, Walt is continually like, with a tick, an expiration date, a definite expiration date that he you know what I mean, that looms in the next couple of years. He's
Hmm.
really trying to go out as the man.
Yeah.
This episode's really, really tough for him. Yeah, he's
Back.
on. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he's just alone a lot.
That conversation between Ted and Skyler when she was talking about Walt and the cancer and the light at the end of the tunnel. Did you get from that she wanted Walt to die?
No, it was like he said, if when you think there's light, there should be light at the end of the tunnel. What she meant by that was we should get even better news. We should get the news that he's going to live.
Hmm.
But, this is supposed to be positive because the tumors have shrunk so much, and, you know, but the news is just that he's got more time, he's got more options to have more time. That means the surgery, he can have that done. So it's the same agony of dealing with your partner's impending death postponed. More tunnel is what Ted said. I don't. She doesn't want him to die.
Well, not at this point.
No, no. She's come down. Remember when they got the news? I
Yeah.
mean, that was just what, last episode?
Yeah, it was.
She was like, she couldn't even believe what the doctor was saying, and she was thrilled. She was very happy. She threw a party to celebrate it.
Hmm.
And then after all that celebrating was over, she realized he still has, you
Something going
know,
on.
he's still got a death sentence. It's just that it's not killing him as fast as it could be. And that's kind of rough. And, plus the party was such a bust. That whole Hank and Walt scene was a party stopper.
Yeah.
And then while Junior's puking in the pool and Skyler's comforting him, Walt's just sitting in his throne with the bottle, having another
Hmm.
drink, looking like, yeah, I'm the man. Doesn't like that when he wakes up, though. Oh, I meant to look up the name of the song that they play in the parking lot scene.
Oh, it's DLZ, uh, TV on the radio.
What's it called? Sorry, I was.
TV on the radio by DLZ.
Oh, okay. Because something about it is just perfect for that scene. It really pumps it up,
Yeah.
which goes into this ending where the theme song has a lot of drum in it.
Hmm.
It's like the roar of Heisenberg. Walt is quieter and, you
And it
know,
builds, it builds, it builds.
and following the rules and just being, ordinary. And Heisenberg's the man. And Walt really likes that part of himself. And I think, yeah, I mean, he struggled with who am I going to be, Walt or
Hmm.
Heisenberg? All of that home stuff was Walt.
Yeah. And what
And
I
he's
like,
actually, yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
he's actually buying something else for this project where he's being a perfectionist. It's like every time he's done, he's got something more to do, and he's like, bare wood, let's go get primer.
Hmm.
But when he sees this guy buying supplies to cook meth, he puts that primer down. He leaves that project behind. He's done. He's moving on to a better project because he's not feeling the love from his family for what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to be rewarded, and he can't. He can't show Heisenberg at home. It's not going to play.
Hmm.
He doesn't like who he has to be himself of his former self.
Yeah. At this point, you can Walt is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think that's a good
No,
comparison.
yep. And when he's drunk, he can't contain it.
Hmm.
And they don't even know what they're seeing. Nobody there knows what they're seeing except a drunk guy,
Yeah.
you know, who just went on a roller coaster with the cancer. And but yeah, that was such a party stopper. And it's funny though, that the music choices, whenever Skyler's in charge of the music, there's a lot of 80s stuff. It started with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they get outside, the music changes. But there's so many episodes where she chooses the music. She apparently was into the 80s.
Well, like the car wash, all 80s music when they buy the car wash.
Yep, it's her choice. I mean, in the one party that they have, well, not party, but you know how they get together and have a cookout, just
Mm-hmm.
family, Hank and Marie. Um, they were playing a particular Squeeze album, and I knew what album it was, and I figured out how much time Hank was in there. Anyway, not too obsessive.
And also in this episode, we see Walt Jr. Being proud of himself that he's keeping up with Hank and Walt.
That conversation is really rough for Walt too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because first Junior thinks he has to apologize for puking in the pool.
Yeah.
And, Walt's like, no, that was my fault. And then, so Junior swings around to pride. Hey, but I kept up with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
No self-respecting father wants to hear that from their 16-year-old. And he's feeling like an awful, awful father,
Yeah.
which is why he is that combined with taking time off is why he's on this project. And it got me thinking about, you know, the way people judge their partners or pick their partners and the criteria they use. And Skyler didn't go for the guy who could necessarily be handy around the house or I don't know. I don't think she expected him to be too domestic in any way, just to be successful in his work. Um, if he can't fix a car, if he can't fix a faucet, whatever, what she wants in a partner are other traits, like loyalty and being gentle, being smart, and being funny,
Yeah.
and being present, being a good father. She would trade in, oh, well, you have this talent where you could cook the best meth in the world. She would trade that, you know, for the Walt who had all those other qualities, which, that you want in somebody that you can live with day to day. And the fact that he could install a new water heater wasn't going to impress her at this point. And Walt is just, even if he gets appreciation, he's really trying to climb out of this hole. His ego went phew when he woke up the morning after the party. He felt like the biggest piece of poop in the world. And long, long voicemail apology. And that conversation with Junior. But at the end, he still can't control it. It comes out
Yeah.
in a different venue, but it comes out, and it pushes him back because he flip flops. Says to Jesse that he's done, and at the end, he's not done.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna do it again. He just decided.
He thinks he's done, but in reality, he's not done.
And Jesse and Jane are kind of cute, having their let's define a relationship stuff when Dad shows up. Jane has got like no privacy. We see Dad's got keys. He can get into her apartment anytime and he takes them out. She
Yeah.
sees that he's got them. But she slips Apology Girl under the door and everything's fine now. Relationship defined. And she really does like him. I mean, it's like where some things are concerned, Jesse's so far behind her.
Mm-hmm.
She's really, really a bright and knowledgeable person and a quick thinker. And he's not so much, but she just likes him.
Well, you saw how he thought that they was in a relationship together,
Right.
and then she, the kids call it today, friend zoned him.
What's that?
She put him in the friend zone.
The friend zone. Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what the kids call it nowadays.
That's what the kids call it nowadays. Friend zone. Okay, interesting. All right. I have somebody there. Anyway, that's funny. Need to learn the lingo. It's like Skyler going, what's a MILF? But yeah, they're adorable, and Jane is doing that whole separate you from my father. But I think that has a lot to do with her not wanting him to think there's anything to worry about.
Hmm.
He's not supposed to know about the relationship because then he's going to suspect she's doing drugs, and he's just going to come check on her at any time. She doesn't have privacy
Yeah.
to do what she's doing, which is why she's doing everything at Jesse's, because he's way less likely to walk in there. And yeah, so they're kind of like children.
Hmm.
They're adults, but they're in this still growing up stage
Yeah.
where Jesse hasn't gotten the parenting, so it's like he's slow to get there, and Jane has an overbearing father and can't get away from the parenting.
Hmm. Have you noticed whenever Jesse has a girl, his relationship style change? When he was with Jane, he was the party type. He's doing drugs. When he was with Andrea, he was like the father type.
Because there was a kid.
Yeah.
It came right down to that. And that's all he had to know.
Hmm.
And he just doesn't think it's cool around kids. Jesse can be on and off again. We do see him have trouble at one point not doing the math. But generally he's able to just take it or leave it sometimes.
Hmm.
He'll go back and forth for different reasons.
I think this is the first episode in a while that we saw him smoke up meth.
That Jesse did?
Yeah, his crack
And
pipe.
he didn't, or he did?
I think it was the first time in a while that we actually see him smoke the meth up.
Oh, when he's alone after the whole Jane incident?
Yeah.
I remember he was smoking a cigarette and turned
Hmm.
off the air filter, but I remember him hitting the pipe.
Yeah.
I think she would recognize that if he did that, because she came over. Unless this is where maybe she'll be interested in drugs.
And let's bring this up because everybody else is you're not supposed to wake up. What do you mean? Never?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That was really adorable. And Jesse's trying so hard to put a breakfast together, and he's not good at it. But you can tell she appreciates it.
Hmm.
They're they're two people that are on their way to being a good couple, if not for other issues in the world. But she's not in it for anything material. She just likes this guy. And in some ways, she's out of his league. In other ways, though, she's perfect, but in a bad way. We'll see.
Hmm. What's your first impression on Jane's dad? So, like you said, I feel that he's overprotective.
Yeah, and he's very serious. Not completely, just a little. He's definitely pulling her strings. That's for sure. When he says, let's go out, she says yes. And
Hmm.
that's all there is to it. He comes over, she's got to be opening the door and she's got to be sober.
Yeah.
You know. and it's like she's a little kid, not a little kid, but like a teenager who gets to sneak out of the house or get in trouble while dad's at work.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the time in her daily life, she doesn't have privacy.
Yeah.
And we know that she's clean, so, he wants to make sure that she doesn't fall back into old habits.
Hmm.
And Jesse, just by looking at him, would be somebody that would make her father have concerns. So that's why she was like, whatever, neighbor, see you later.
Yeah.
Because to admit, then he's going to up his visits. He's going to want to come in more often. So, anyway. But over, I'm not sure what the title means as far as the episode goes. Do you have any idea?
The only piece I can put together is the season finale. Is that the beginning is the continuation of what's going to happen throughout the season finale.
So you think it has more to do with the sets of titles that spell out what's happening?
Yeah, I think it was just to lay the groundwork of what's going to happen in the season finale.
Because off the top of my head, I can't put down with anything, but 737 was clear. It
Hmm.
had relevance in the episode, and I think they usually pick titles that have some relevance. And so I'm just trying to figure out what the down stands for. Is Walt down as a man, trying to come back out and up and
Hmm.
be dominant? I don't know. Down. I still don't know. I should have looked that up. I thought you would know. But every episode title has a reason for
Yeah.
being that episode title. And I really can't think of what that is. Except, like you said, he's kind of down.
Well, this episode was over.
I mean, yeah, over, sorry. Yeah, he was, well, what was over?
Meth
Um,
making. The meth making. Walt said he was over.
or the bliss over the happy news? I don't know.
His cancer is over.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so now I'm going to live. And she's like, okay, he's still going to die someday. It's just going to take longer. And, it's a tough thing to be a family member of somebody with a death sentence. You're just as freaked out
Hmm.
day to day. Really tough position to be in. But, I think she had all this hope, and she realizes that there is no hope. And meanwhile, Walt continues to disappoint her in new ways, and trying to make up for it by doing other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hank totally, totally was dominating that conversation.
Hmm.
Walt was just sitting there drinking and pouring and drinking and pouring, and Hank dominated, and finally Walt had to take over everything.
Yeah.
My son, my bottle, my house, my everything. He was so mad. And that was not a Walter White
No.
thing to do. He lets Heisenberg out and nobody knows. And Heisenberg is so bad his son pukes, see?
But I think that was pretty much it. The main points that we hit on in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, things just kind of went, there were artsy things I noticed. We're introduced to the crawl space,
Hmm.
you know, the way they used music, Dave Porter's music, other songs, and the way they blended the sound of Walt using a saw
Oh yeah, I love
into
that. Into
getting
the vacuum cleaner.
yeah,
That
Skyler
was
at work,
great. That was great. I love that.
knocking something over to get his attention, get Ted's attention. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Short review.
Yeah, it was pretty. But the next one, Mandalaya, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Mandala,
Mandala,
maybe?
maybe. Yeah, we'll do that one the 14th of February.
Valentine's Day.
You doing anything on Valentine's Day?
I don't know. What day of the week is it? Oh, it's a Saturday.
Saturday.
Probably not.
If not, I'll reschedule it. If so, I'll reschedule.
Nah, generally not. Saturday's my friend's boys' day.
Yeah, the next episode is going to be a good one. We get to meet Gus in this one.
Mm, okay.
So, what you think about Better Call Saul? You think it's going to be any good? Uh,
I I'm starting to think that it's going to be better than I ever imagined.
hmm,
I didn't want to get too excited about it. I'm not a spin-off person.
yeah.
I think you're asking for it to fall flat, but I'm starting to think that this is going to be pretty epic. And I already know the first scene.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep away from any spoilers or anything. I've been just watching the teasers.
Well, Breaking Bad actually put it out, and I didn't see it. My friend told me, and I was like, "Why did you tell me that?" I already know the opening scene of this show, and it is like it's an OMFG moment. It's gonna be. It's like it seems like the kind of show they're saying that people who haven't watched Breaking Bad can get into it, but if you've watched Breaking Bad, you're going to take away some more things. And that opening scene is really for the people who watched Breaking Bad before. It's going to play differently to those who haven't. And you're just going to be like, no way. Ah!
I've got to watch that. I didn't check that out. I got to check that out.
And then something about some cameo toward the end of it or something, but in that, I think the end of the first episode, no, the end of the second episode, I don't know. Somewhere on that Sunday, Monday night when this all comes out, we're going to see some characters from Breaking Bad, and I don't know who that is. I'm thinking I could be Badger and Skinny Pete. I don't know, Hank and Marie getting Chinese food.
Skank and Spooge.
I keep seeing her and stuff. I keep watching things that she shows up in. We had a blizzard up here, so I watched a lot of Weeds because I've never watched that show before, and she was in there too. I think it was that show.
That
But
was the
oh
Blizzard.
yeah, Weeds, man, because I'm always behind on things.
Mhm.
There were so many things that were related to Breaking Bad that it was unbelievable, and it was like trying to figure out who did what first. So many things. Just things people said, things people did. I mean, there was even chemical disincorporation. Well, it was just crazy. But it's nowhere near. It's fun, it's entertaining, but it's not Breaking Bad. Actually, in fact, I was reading today that Vince Gilligan didn't even know about Weeds when he was pitching this, when he was getting this off the ground,
Mhm.
and he said if he did know, he may not have gone with it because it would be like somebody else's idea, just a different drug.
Oh wow.
So yay for Vince Gilligan not knowing about Weeds for a while. Because I thought everybody heard of that show.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
So it's pretty funny. And then there's some things that are similar to Breaking Bad, but you know, not epic show. Worth watching though.
All right, so I guess we can wrap it up.
All right, I'll do more homework next time. I forgot about tonight until late, and I had to watch the episode really fast.
Oh, that's okay. So the 14th, unless something comes up.
Valentine's Day. Okay,
All right.
I'll be
Stay
here probably
safe.
snowed in.
Stay safe.
I can't wait to get out. Have a good night, Shane.
You too.
Bye.